The world of coin collecting is full of fascinating surprises, and one of the most intriguing coins ever to come from the United States Mint is the 1946 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary coin you could find in your change jar or tucked away in an old dresser drawer. But in truth, this little piece of copper tells a remarkable story. It is a story of history, war, change, and the mysteries of the minting process itself. Today, we are going to dive deep into the details of the 1946 no-mint mark penny, exploring its background, the design, the production process, errors and varieties, the reasons why collectors love it so much, and finally, how much money one of these rare coins could actually be worth today. Let's begin by looking at the time period in which this coin was struck. The year 1946 was a crucial turning point in American history. The Second World War had just ended, and the United States was transitioning from a wartime economy back to peacetime. Factories that once produced weapons and war supplies were now returning to civilian production. The country was entering an age of optimism, with soldiers coming back home, families reuniting, and industries booming. But resources were still tight, and copper, one of the most important metals, had been heavily rationed during the war. In fact, just 3 years earlier in 1943, the U.S. Mint had even produced pennies made from steel coated with zinc, instead of the usual copper, in order to save copper for military use. By 1946, the war had ended, and the Mint returned to producing pennies made mostly of copper. This transition makes the 1946 penny part of a fascinating era in American coinage. Now let's talk about the design of the 1946 penny. The obverse, or front, features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909. Lincoln's face, with its solemn yet determined expression, was chosen to mark the 100th anniversary of his birth. This design has remained one of the most iconic and enduring in American coinage history. On the 1946 penny, Lincoln is depicted facing right, with the word Liberty to the left, and the date, 1946, along with the mint mark, if present, on the right side. Since we're discussing the no-mint mark version, the space next to the date is empty, which means this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the classic wheat ears design, which collectors affectionately refer to as the wheat penny. Two stylized stalks of wheat curve along the left and right edges of the coin, symbolizing prosperity and abundance. In between them are the words 1 cent and United States of America, while above is the Latin motto E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one. This reverse design, also created by Brenner, remained in use from 1909 until 1958, after which the Lincoln Memorial reverse took its place. For many collectors, the wheat penny design is timeless and nostalgic, reminding them of an era long gone. Now the 1946 penny was produced in huge numbers. Between the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, more than 1 billion pennies were struck that year. That might make you think these coins are common and not worth collecting, but that is where the story gets interesting. While many were minted, most of them went into circulation and suffered from decades of wear and tear. Millions were lost, damaged, or destroyed. Finding a 1946 penny in pristine condition today is much harder than you might expect, and that is exactly why collectors seek them out. The no-mint mark version specifically comes from the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use mint marks at that time. Philadelphia struck over 991 million pennies in 1946, making it one of the largest mintages of the wheat cent era. However, despite the large number produced, the survival of high-quality examples is much rarer. Collectors grade coins on a scale from poor to mint state, with mint state examples being coins that look nearly perfect, showing no signs of wear. When a 1946 penny is found in mint state, with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal imperfections, its value increases dramatically. Another fascinating aspect of the 1946 penny is the existence of errors and varieties. Error coins happen when something goes wrong in the minting process, and collectors love them because they are unique. For the 1946 penny, some of the known errors include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and double-die obverse varieties where the lettering or date appears doubled. These errors make the coin even more valuable, with certain dramatic examples fetching thousands of dollars at auction. Imagine stumbling upon what looks like an ordinary penny only to discover that it's an error coin worth a small fortune. That is the thrill that keeps collectors searching. Beyond errors, there's also the matter of condition and toning. Over the years, some 1946 pennies developed unique colors due to the way copper reacts with the environment. Coins can take on shades of red, brown, or even rainbow-like iridescence. Collectors often pay a premium for coins with attractive natural toning, as they stand out from the rest. In fact, a beautifully toned 1946 penny in top condition can become the centerpiece of a collection. So why does the 1946 no mint mark Lincoln penny hold such a special place among collectors today? It's partly because it bridges two important periods in history. On one side, you have the wartime years of the early 1940s, when coins were made from steel and copper was rationed. On the other side, you have the post-war era of prosperity, when America was rebuilding and entering a new age. The 1946 penny sits right in the middle, representing both sacrifice and renewal. Owning one is like holding a small piece of American history in your hand. Let's also not forget the sentimental value attached to wheat pennies. For many people, finding a wheat penny in their pocket change was once a common experience, sparking curiosity about coins and history. Today, with wheat pennies no longer in circulation, the excitement of finding one has grown even stronger. The 1946 penny, being one of the later wheat cent issues, is often one of the first coins that new collectors encounter. It acts as a gateway into the larger world of numismatics, where people discover the joy of studying and collecting coins. Now let's consider the market value of the 1946 no mint mark penny. In lower grades, where the coin is worn and circulated, it may only be worth a few cents to $1. But in higher grades, the value climbs significantly. A coin graded as mint state 65 or higher by a professional grading service can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its luster, strike, and overall eye appeal. Collectors will pay a premium for coins that look as though they just left the mint. Auction records show that some of the finest examples of the 1946 no mint mark penny have sold for extraordinary sums. These are coins that survived in remarkable condition, untouched by circulation, carefully preserved for decades. Their rarity in such pristine form drives competition among collectors, pushing prices higher and higher. The thrill of bidding on such a coin and the pride of owning one makes the pursuit all the more exciting. Another point worth mentioning is that the popularity of Lincoln cents as a series adds to the demand. The Lincoln cent is the longest-running coin design in U.S. history, and its popularity spans generations. Collectors often seek to build complete sets of Lincoln wheat cents, which means every date and mint mark from 1909 to 1958. To complete such a set, a collector must have the 1946 no mint mark penny, ensuring continued demand for this coin. The better the condition, the more desirable it becomes. For investors, coins like the 1946 penny also hold appeal. Rare coins are seen as tangible assets that can appreciate in value over time. Unlike paper currency, which can lose value due to inflation, rare coins are finite. There will never be more 1946 pennies minted, and as time goes on, the number of surviving high-quality examples only decreases. This scarcity is what fuels the coin market and makes certain pennies so incredibly valuable. The stories surrounding rare coins also add to their allure. Imagine that the penny you find in an old jar was once carried by a soldier returning home from World War II, or perhaps it was saved by a child who had just begun collecting coins in the 1940s. Each coin has a journey, and that journey adds invisible layers of history and meaning to its worth. In conclusion, the 1946 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny may look small and ordinary, but it carries with it a remarkable story. It represents a nation emerging from war, a beloved design that connects us to Abraham Lincoln, and a chapter in the long history of the penny itself. Collectors treasure it not just for its copper content, but for its symbolism, its rarity in top condition, and the thrill of discovering a hidden gem among everyday change. And while many of these coins may only be worth a little, the finest examples can command astonishing prices. In fact, the highest value ever recorded for a 1946 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is $44,229.